Welcome to Split Screen Soldiers, everybody. Thanks for joining me on my second episode of Gaming News. Episode 1 was a lot of fun to make. I talked a lot about HR, Worlds Elite, and SOCOM. This series is pretty much news I'm interested in, what I feel like talking about, and so I can put my 2 cents in. So today's episode, I'm going to dive into the talks of virtual reality gaming and how it seems to be everywhere. I'm also going to be talking a bit about the announcement of cross-platform gaming from Microsoft, Sony's response to it, and what this could mean for everybody. So to wrap things up, I will talk on HR, Worlds Elite, and SOCOM again. So without any more introduction, let's get this party started. First off, let's get this VR talk on the screen and get it out of the way quick. So VR sounds really cool, seems to be gaming's next big thing. Everyone's on board with it. It's all anyone's talking about in the gamer universe lately. And at the recent Game Developers Conference, VR was all the rage. So the question is, will all this seriously take off? Are we all really going to be standing in our living rooms with big clunky goggles on? Is this really the future? Maybe I'm in the minority, but I believe this is just another fad that's going to pass. I cannot see typical families or people like me or you dishing out hundreds upon hundreds of dollars on these things. I personally don't know anyone, a single person who's going to purchase a VR headset or who's even interested in doing it, including myself. I think VR is overhyped and is going to be underwhelming. It's just not very practical right now. Would have loved to see Sony and Microsoft maybe put some of the focus on better games for us to play on the consoles we already have. I guess I can dream though. Now that VR crap's out of the way, let's get straight into this cross-platform talk. Is this really going to happen? Am I going to be able to turn on my Xbox and play a game of Rocket League with my buddy on his PS4? Well, Microsoft recently released a statement on cross-platform play saying they are now opening it up to the idea and will be updating Xbox Live this spring to allow it to happen. Ultimately, it will be up to the game developers to bring the consoles together, but the fact that Microsoft is on board is huge. Sony already has been on board as Rocket League could be played with the PC and PS4 users for a while now. So I'm excited to hopefully be able to play my PS4 buddies this year in a game of Rocket League. I feel like history would be made. Sony's response was, as expected, a bit unclear and confusing. Sony responded as, PlayStation has been supporting cross-platform play between PC on several software titles, starting with Final Fantasy XI on PS2 and PC way back in 2002. We would be happy to have this conversation with any publisher or developer who are interested in cross-platform play. So I for one would be very happy for this to become a reality. All we can do is cross our fingers and hope that these consoles finally pull together for the consumer for once. Alright guys, lastly I'll finish up the little HR and SOCOM talk. If you don't know anything about HR or SOCOM, take a look at my first gaming news video to help fill you in. So there was a little bit of buzz over the last week on Twitter between Soft Studios and other potential investors. It sounds like Soft has been in contact with a handful of people that might keep this game moving in the right direction. I am very, very hopeful that this happens and it moves its way all the way to the PS4. However, come on now guys. Going out and reaching to these Twitter investors and telling them not to invest in Soft? Why? It's actually kind of sad that HR was funded by the thousands of SOCOM fans who want a real SOCOM game back in their library. Now a handful of them have jumped ship and turned against the company who was trying to make this game happen for them. The fact is, HR still to this day is the only game that you can play right now that is nearly identical to SOCOM. SOCOM 1 and 2 that is. SOCOM sourced the PC mod recently shut down, leaving SOCOM fans only with Excellent Kai, which lets people play old online games, again online, via player-to-player connections as the alternative. Now not many people play that, but it is an alternative. So if the majority of SOCOM fans weren't complete idiots, HR would have a larger fan base than it does today. You see, a few big name community members turned on SOF at some point and led some others with them. These guys are super butthurt at SOF for the way they handled some things on the forums and that they're not making the game to their wishes. It truly baffles me that these idiots want SOCOM 1 and 2 back so bad, however they're bashing the only people trying to give them that type of game. It's really the stuff like this that is making SOCOM community look like complete retards and keeping Sony from probably making us a game that we want. It also really sucks that it's hurting SOF Studios and HR's chance to get investors and a bigger community. So now all these people bashing have not only lowered their chances of HR reaching the PS4, they've probably scared Sony off by showing them that there is no market for a game like SOCOM in the process, which is not the case at all. These bashers are the same people who would be buying HR on day one if it reached the PS4, and they know it too. HR is truly a good game and has come a long way. I'm just praying to the SOCOM gods that all this backlash didn't put a big halt on our game's production. So there you have it, everybody. Thanks for joining Hofa's Corner and letting me put my spin on gaming news this week. Tune back in next week for some more news that probably does not matter and that I'll talk about anyways. So thanks for watching, and if I tickled your fancy, drop me a comment, like, and subscribe. Until next time, guys. See ya.